Now, a fight is brewing tonight between two factions of the MAGA movement. The transitions, let's just call them tech bros, and it's immigration hardliners on the other side, over how the incoming Trump administration should approach skilled foreign workers. Now, two of those techies, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, posting on X advocating for welcoming skilled labor-based immigration, including the H-1B visas that tech, consulting, and other white-collar industries rely on to hire foreign employees. Now, Musk argues it brings top talent right here to the United States. But that ignited a fight among MAGA supporters who say the H-1B visas take jobs away from American citizens. Former Congressman and one-time AG nominee Matt Gaetz said of the tech bros, quote, "We did not ask them to engineer an immigration policy." Now, this fight comes as the president-elect is expected to launch some sort of a mass deportation operation for undocumented migrants after inauguration. NBC News had a one-on-one with his incoming border czar, who kept the door open to renewing the controversial policy of detaining migrant families. Take a listen.
Look, family detention, if we bring it back, it's on the table. We haven't finished the plans yet. If you choose to have a child here in the United States while you know you're here illegally and you know you're on a court order to deport, that's on you.
Let's go to NBC's Aaron Gilchrist now. Now, Aaron, let's start with this push by Musk and Ramaswamy, because it's the tech sector that stands to benefit big time from any increase in H-1Bs. But what could actually change here in terms of the policies over that program?
Yeah, so I think people are still trying to wrap their heads around what exactly the policy changes might be around immigration in general, and more specifically on this H-1B program that you referenced. Right now, this is a program that allows for about 85,000 of these types of visas to be issued, and these are visas that go to people who typically go into jobs that require high levels of technical skills, right? And so that's why we think about Silicon Valley and how these sorts of folks might be fitting into what they do. Now, you see on your screen here that President Biden's administration just recently changed some of the regulations as it relates to this program. And the idea from the Department of Homeland Security is that they're modernizing the program by streamlining the application process for employers and for applicants. They're expanding the definition of specialty occupations, and also serves to clarify which nonprofits and governmental research organizations qualify for this program. Sort of the thumb in the eye to the Trump administration is the fact that these new regulations go into effect on January 17th. So now this is one more thing, Brian, that the Trump administration is going to have to examine coming out of the current administration and figure out how it fits into the larger picture of the Trump immigration policies.
So, I mean, Aaron, staying on immigration, but kind of zooming out here, we just heard from the incoming border czar, Tom Homan, earlier. Now, we haven't really heard the specifics on the incoming administration's plan beyond their commitment to some sort of mass deportation campaign. But restarting the detention of families would be a major and likely controversial step.
You're absolutely right. And we talked to Tom Homan. He said that his team, the team for Homeland Security issues that President-elect Trump is putting together, is still developing a plan. It's not baked just yet, but he does expect that there will be a larger immigration plan, in particular a plan around these mass deportations that the president-elect has talked about so much in the next couple of weeks, the next 2 weeks possibly. And he did not take off the table the idea of reopening family detention centers that he described as not being like jails, rather places where families can gather in these open air spaces and go through the immigration process that would bring in judges and things of that sort to deal with asylum requests. And so this still, though, creates the possibility, Brian, of family separation. Tom Homan basically said that it's going to be up to parents who choose to have children in the United States who are U.S. citizens, even though the parents are here illegally. It's up to them to decide whether they would leave their kids here with relatives potentially or take them back to the countries they're deported to.
Yeah, I mean, we remember how much of a flashpoint the separation policy was during his first administration. We'll see what happens. Aaron Gilchrist, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.